so we're going to do the back now. So we're going to basically create a form at the back of this last page. So we're going to have like a little area where we can do checkboxes, and I'm going to show you how to do use text wraps for those checkboxes. And then we're going to have an area where we would, basically people could, print out their name and the address and whatnot. So they could use this as a kind of a mailer or a document that they could receive, solicit some information from. Okay, so back to our InDesign document, back page. So I'm going to draw one text box, just like I've done in the past, one big text box, as opposed to a whole bunch of little ones. And I'm actually going to get all of this text. I'm just going to grab all of it, just because I'm starting to get a little bit lazy. So I'm going to make it let's just make it copy for now. Okay, so it's not taking up all the space. So I'm going to obviously need to get rid of that word header. Now I can use the same header as I've used in the front other pages. That's fine. I can change it to something else. Maybe in this case I want it centered. And now it's obviously going to create that error, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I could make a new style if it's really bothering me. If I want it bold at this point, I would just have to make, maybe this is called like the form header. Okay, so if I want to do it that way, that's absolutely fine. Alternatively, I can just use that previous created paragraph style. Okay, so get rid of that word copy. Now draw a box. So this is literally, we're going to draw boxes. I'm just going to delete all this text that actually says draw a box. It's just that's just giving you directions. Okay, so I'm going to draw a box. A box is a box. Actually press W so I can see my margins. So next to the rectangle frame, there's the rectangle tool. You did this already in your drawing exercises. So I'm going to draw it from the margin, and I'm going to hold down the shift. So if I don't hold down the shift, I'm going to get a rectangle. But if I hold down the shift, I'm going to get an equal-sided square. It works like that for all of the shapes. So if I'm in the ellipse, if I just draw a drag and draw, I get an oval. But if I hold down the shift key, I get an equal-sided circle. So it works that way also when I'm doing a image frame, right? I can also draw an ellipse image frame holding down the shift key, or I can draw an oval one as well. Okay, so rectangle tool, which is a shape tool, I'm going to hold down the shift. I'm just going to draw a little square because it's this little checkbox, and I'm just going to stroke. If I have the stroke forward here, or if I up here in the control, if I click on the stroke, or if I in the swatches window, if I have the stroke little image there forward facing, I can change the color of the stroke, or I can do it up here as well, and I can make it the Pantone color if I want. I can also double click on the tools here, and I don't have the Pantone colors there, but I can just change the color. Alternatively, in my color window, I can add like a CMYK color, but I'm just going to add that Pantone color, so I'm going to access that through my swatches window, or I can access my swatches up here in the control as well. I'm actually going to then also change the width of the stroke, so the default is going to be 1 point, and let's see what that looks like. It's not bad, but you might want it a bit thinner, so maybe half a stroke or quarter of a stroke, up to you. I might just use half for now. Now, the text is butt up right against that box. So I'm going to use the text wrap. I'm going to do that. That's going to be the easiest way to push it aside, just like we've done in the past, is create that text wrap. Again, always add some values. So this is creating values all simultaneously all around. So if I want to have them independent from each other, maybe something like 1/16 of an inch, or what is that? 16th? No. I don't know, a third? I can't remember. So there's one, maybe not quite so much at the bottom here, something like that. So why I have some at the bottom is because we're going to have to, we need 3 checkboxes, right? There's 3 there. So I don't have to draw another text box. I'm just going to press W so I can see my margins. So I can copy and paste, Control C, Control V, and that will just move it wherever I want or wherever it wants to. If I do that again, and then I would have to like move it over here. And ultimately I would have to use my align window, align to margins in this case. So I can do it that way, or even easier, I can select this one box that I've drawn, and holding down the Command Option, when I do that, it automatically, oops, didn't do it, automatically, it should automatically, those little double arrows appear. Now I know that I am selecting and copying and pasting at the same time. So Command Option, and I think on the PC it's Control Option, and I'm automatically copy and pasting. Now I can see that actually that's not quite on the margin. So there's right on the margin now. Now, Command Option, I am copying, pasting, duplicating. In other words, if I hold down the Shift key, Command Option Shift, I can drag at a 45 or a 90-degree angle. So that's really, oh, it didn't quite work. Do that again. Make sure those double arrows are appearing. There we go. Now, the text is still there. Those two lines of text are too close together still, but I'm just going to draw the 3 boxes. That didn't work. Make sure the double arrows are appearing. So there's 3 boxes now. Now I can't tell that that checkbox is for this text, piece of text. So I'm actually just going to click and put a hard return in between them. So there's that extra space, so I can really tell that this checkbox is supposed to be for this bit of text, and this checkbox is supposed to be for this bit of text, and this one, if I move it down, is going to be for this bit of text. Now, I'm just going to eyeball it really because, you know, I have 1 line of text here, and then I have 2 lines of text, and then I have another line of text here. So if I select all 3 of them, and then I use this other thing in a line called spacing, when I do that, it kind of distributes them evenly. But when I notice when I do that, it doesn't, you know, the text, it's kind of centered on the text here, and that doesn't look good. I'm actually want to just kind of eye it. So I want to kind of get this, like, I press the W. I want to actually, if I pull down from my rulers, a kind of a guide, I kind of want the text or that box to be kind of centered on the text. If you don't have your rulers showing, Control R or View Rulers. Actually, it's under Extras. No, where is it actually again? Hide rulers there. Control R. Control R. So I kind of actually want this to be kind of centered to. Does that look good? No, it feels like it should be centered to that top line of text here, like right there. Kind of center that there, and then draw another one. Let's kind of center it there. See if that looks good. I'm just going to eyeball. It doesn't quite look good to me. I'm just going to visually kind of get it looking like it's evenly distributed. So I'm just using my little arrow keys to move. It's starting to get there. I don't know, it's not quite right. You know, for me, I want to bump this down. I don't like that there is like this long line of text and this one word here that's called an orphan. So I'm going to move my down here. You know, might want to make this that character style now. Maybe this becomes that character style. So I'm just going to visually align these, just kind of move them so they look like they're distributed evenly. Something like that. Okay. The next bit of text is, this is kind of like where the form, and that got bumped because the text wrap was in the way. So I'm just gonna, and we have a lot of space. All we have to do now is put a logo behind down there. So let me just make sure that I have, yeah, I just have to put a logo. So we have a lot of space here. So let's fill it up in a way that looks like not crowded and overwhelmed, but kind of adds some interest. So this is a little form here. Sorry, this is the text box, checkboxes. This is like a little form. So you might want to create a little bit of visual interest here now. So maybe this becomes a little bit bigger. So it, you know, it's really obvious what you need to do. Now maybe this. Now I like this text here actually. What is this? Maybe actually if I left align this, this becomes a new paragraph style. Maybe this is called form. And now all this becomes form as well. You know, maybe I don't want those semicolons. Just add. Maybe this becomes uppercase and smaller. And now I've changed that form style. So maybe this is form items. I don't know, I'm just kind of making up these words. I don't know what that means. Okay. Now I want to add some, you know, I want to imply that this is where you write your name. So maybe we add a line. So there's a line tool here. Click on here, and then you can draw lines. Oops, and they're going to be no color right now. So add a swatch color, sorry, a fill color there. Why isn't automatically generating a color? And now where did that go? I can't see it because press Control Alt to kind of see where. There it is. I can't see it. There it is. I don't want that there. Okay, so make sure I have a color selected and that line tool. There. So I'm just drawing a bunch of lines. Now if I want them to be straight, I hold down the Shift key, just like we did 45 and 90 degree, just like we did for all the other equilateral objects. So holding down the Shift, I'm going to draw it to the margin. Now default is going to be 1 point, so maybe I want it to match. What did I have what did I have that as? A half point. So this is maybe also a half a point to keep that consistent. I can copy and paste, same principle I did with the boxes, holding down Option Command Shift. I'll make sure that little icon, double icon appears. No, it's not appearing. So hold Command Option Shift, there we go. You know, maybe obviously maybe to the bottom and then do that again. Now the word address is shorter than the word name, so you can either just decrease the size of that, or if I want them to be all the same, I might just make that one because I know that length is going to fit. Now delete those other ones with those two words. So now when I go copy and paste by holding down Command Option Shifts, oh, now it will fit. Now this is where I might now go distribute. So I'm going to select all three of those, align, and now just distribute. And now those will be three equal lines, all equal distance to each other. Maybe I add a little bit of, maybe this is where I use that form style. And then maybe this, maybe even this becomes, and actually maybe it makes sense to have this. And this could even, maybe this actually is even smaller. You know, I'm not creating new styles here because it's just kind of the end of this tutorial and I don't really want to create a whole bunch of styles and take up too much time. But you can play with making this as beautiful and fancy as you want and creating styles if you like. I'm not going to because I just want to kind of get this done a little bit quicker. But the point is just to kind of make this look a little bit interesting. You can add images, you can add colors, you can do whatever you want, and you can add as many objects or elements or fonts or whatever. Last but not least, I'm going to actually, I think I still have that. There we go. Now I don't want this one because it's that white logo will be unreadable over that white paper. So I'm actually just going to go copy and paste this one on the back. I'm going to flip it again, and then I'm going to center it on the page, and I'm going to put it on the bottom of the margin, and then I think actually we need the URL. So I don't want it underneath the logo here. I'm actually going to put it underneath the address, but just make it a bit smaller so it's not quite so massive. Maybe something like that. Maybe I track it out a bit. And maybe, and don't make it a bold font. So again, I'm just playing. I'm making this like look as fancy or as interesting as I want. Maybe make it something like that. Okay. And then in the last video, I'm going to show you how to package and get this all print ready. So I have everything I need here now. There's my first page, there's my second and third, and there is my fourth page. I'm going to save it again, just in case. InDesign automatically saves, so it's not, so if it crashes, it's not so bad, but I'm just going to save it just to be super, super on top of it. So next video, packaging and exporting.